Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at what I have down as my test route 4 from Chester. This is a fast test route. The majority of the test route is actually dual carriageway. It's quite a nice test route, but we do take in Queensferry roundabout, which some people might find a bit intimidating. So I wanted to do this test route to show you what Queensferry roundabout actually looks like. So as always, we're going to leave the test centre. We're going to go down to the lights and we're going to turn left out of here. I've shown quite a wide variety of what the test routes look like around Chester. I may do the other stop sign at some point, but that stop sign is a lot less tricky than the one I did up in Hooton, beside the motorway. If you haven't watched my other videos, then be sure to. We're going to go onto this roundabout, national speed limit, and we're going to go straight around. And we're going to come off at this turning towards Chester and Queensferry. Still national speed limit. So I'm going to get my speeds up. Nice and fast road. So as per the new government's guidelines, a lot of more test routes are going to be on fast roads. So this may be a test route that comes up quite a bit. This is quite a short test route compared to some of the other ones. This only took me about 20 minutes or so. Obviously I didn't do the manoeuvres, so that would add on some time. But it's still a nice test route. We're going to go straight up to these lights and we're going to turn left at these traffic lights again. Again, these are filter lights, so often the green arrow will appear to say you can go left. And this time we're going to turn left and then immediately go into the right-hand lane because we're going right at the roundabout afterwards. So you'll see what I mean in a moment. So sometimes you'll turn left at this and you'll go straight across the roundabout ahead of you. Or as we'll see in this case, we're going to turn left and then go into the outside lane because we're going to turn right at this roundabout. I've shown this roundabout going straight across before. So this is the first time I'm showing you turning right. We're going to go all the way around. And we're going to come off at this turning. So just a quick indication. And national speed limit. Get your speeds up because this is a slip road that goes onto this dual carriageway. So you want to get your speeds nice and high while you've got the room to do it. Obviously, if there's more traffic, then adjust your speed, making sure to keep track of what's going on behind you. Now, the time to indicate on these sort of slip roads is when the grass ends. So I'm not indicating, now I'm going to indicate. And I'm going to go over into the first lane, the left-hand lane, when it's safe to do so. That car nicely got out of my way because, well, that's what you're supposed to do. And again, this is national speed limit. This is a dual carriageway. 2-lane dual carriageway. And we're going to be returning back on this dual carriageway shortly, going the opposite direction. So this does catch some people out, because while this is currently national speed limit, it does drop down to a 50. So I'll be interested to see if you pick up when that happens. And let me know if you do see it. Sometimes you may be asked to come off at this exit, but we're not going to do that today. So if you're asked to follow signs to Flint, it will be this exit, but we're just going to continue. And we're still national speed limit, so up to 70 miles an hour. This bike can't do 70, so I'm sitting around 60, 63 maybe. And we're just going to continue going on this road. And a road does join here, and I had a little bit of a panic at this point because I thought this was a slip road, but it's not. It's a lane that appears itself. So I came over just in case these cars were wanted to come across. It's maybe a little bit of a judgment error, but better safe than sorry. And as soon as I got past them, I came back into the correct lanes. Now I'm in the central lane, just making sure that there's no cars behind me before I move over again back into the left lane. And we are now at 50, so did you see the sign, honestly? As my instructor says, the left lane is for learners, so you should always try to be in the left lane as much as possible. So potentially a slight judgment call error on my part, but also I was just giving any cars room to come out if they needed to. So at this point in the journey, we are actually down to a 50 mile an hour zone. So I'm doing 50, so that car ahead of me is actually breaking the speed limit. And we use average speed cameras on this road. So there's plenty of signage. So there are average speed cameras along this stretch of road. So make sure your speed is appropriate, which mine is. We've got another slip road coming on, so just be aware of any cars wanting to merge. None this time, so I just carried on going. And we're just going to continue up over this upcoming bridge. Now this lane on the left hand side is massive, but it's not actually a lane. They were at some point supposed to add in a third lane, but they still haven't done it. And I don't think there's any plans to do that anytime soon. You can see here it's all sort of blocked off. There was supposed to be a third lane added in there to reduce traffic, but that hasn't happened. You just saw a 50 sign there. And we're going to go over the River Dee, heading towards Queensferry. We're still at 50. And we're going to be coming off at the next slip road. So the markers start here, 3. Still 50. 2, I'm going to indicate between 2 and 1. Left, we're going to come off here towards Queensferry. And we're going to do this roundabout, right-hand lane, right-hand turn, middle lane, right-hand lane. So right, middle, right. You'll see what I mean in a moment. I'm going to reduce my speed because we're coming up to the roundabout now. Just make sure my speeds are nice and slow. We've got a red light, so just going to reduce down. And a 30 mile an hour speed limit starts from these lights. And we're going to go all the way around the roundabout to the right. So right-hand lane. That's my first right. We're going to do a right-hand turn, which is here. We're turning right. And then we want the middle lane. So sort of come across and slot in behind these cars ahead of me. So that's my middle. And then past these lights, we're going to move over back into the right-hand lane again. So just past these lights, there's another lane here on the right-hand side, and we're going to go into that lane because we're turning right at these traffic lights. Just making sure with your observations. And we're down to 20 miles an hour there. That was a quick 20 sign. Quite a subtle one. And we're going to be turning right at these traffic lights up towards Garden City. Now, Garden City is going to be where you do any manoeuvres that you're going to be doing on this route. There's some built up areas, and there's also a church where you will likely be doing parking manoeuvres as well if you're on this route, if you don't do them at the test centre. So we're turning right here towards Garden City. And we're just going to stick in this lane. So we're still in a 20 zone. And this is very pedestrianised. There's lots of traffic, there's lots of people, lots of cars, lots of potential for things to go wrong. Lots of potential for car doors opening, that sort of thing. And there is a crossing coming up as well. So just being aware of what's going on around you. And as you've seen, there have been no more signs to reaffirm that this is a 20 zone. But this does remain 20. Remember, at this point we are in Wales. So this is a 20 mile an hour speed limit. It can be confusing because there's no repeaters. And there's no roads to the sides that you can look in really to see what speed you're doing. So that's a tip that my driving instructor gave me. If you're unsure of what the speed limit of the road that you're on is, if you look in side streets and you see a 20 mile an hour speed limit starting in that side street, then that means you're in a 30. So if you are ever unsure, just take a quick look down side streets that are coming off of the road that you're on to see if there is a speed limit. And again, this is confusing because there's no speed limit sign, so just make sure that you are going 20. And we're going to get to this school, and on the opposite side of the school we are going to turn left. So we're going to go left where that car is going, just past these lights. And we're going up into Garden City. Again, school zone, keep your speeds nice and low. Depending on the time of day, there may be children. This was on a Saturday morning, so not a lot going on. But still, the potential for busyness. And as you can see, there are lots of cars parked on the right hand side blocking the lane. So just be aware of any traffic that's oncoming. You do have the right of way because your side of the road is clear, but that doesn't always mean that people are going to give way to you. So just make sure you're aware of what's going on ahead of you. And then at this road, we're going to turn right. You can see the sort of parking that I mean. We've got an obstacle right on this right turning, so I just take it nice and slowly. Swing out into the right-hand lane, keeping an eye on what's going ahead of me, just in case there are any cars. And at this point, I see that there is a car coming, so I'm just going to pull over and give way. It's a learner driver, potentially doing the same thing that we're doing, just in the opposite way. Maybe even doing a mock test at this point. So I'm just pulling over, just to give them space to come past. And then I'm going to swing back out, right into the centre, giving cars on both sides plenty of room. Still a 20, but I'm just taking it a little bit slow. Just because of people stepping out and car doors and that sort of thing. We're going to turn right at this road. if you're going to be doing manoeuvres on this route, if you're going to be doing any parking, then there is a church on the right hand side, just there, that turning into that car park on the right you can see with a red car. That is where you will do manoeuvres. You will do parking manoeuvres. If you don't do any parking manoeuvres in there, then you will be very likely doing them at the test centre, or you'll be doing pull up on the right and reverse 2 car lengths. So this is really the only properly pedestrian area, built up area, housing. I'm going to go to the end and we're going to turn left. This is a giveaway. Just making sure that the road is nice and clear. I did wait a little bit longer here than potentially necessary because I did see to the left hand side of me there was a car reversing out of a parking space. So you can just see it there, just pulling away. So I did wait for that car to pass me. And we're still in a 20, so we're taking it nice and easy. There's a big cycle path on the left hand side, and there's also a big play park as well coming up on the left. So just being aware that there are lots of things going on around here. There are lots of people, lots of potentials for hazard, which is why it is a 20-mile-an-hour zone. Whether you like the 20-mile-an-hour zone or not in Wales, that is what we have to deal with. I'm going to come up to this sign and you can see we start at 40 from here. And we're going to go straight across this roundabout. And cars coming off the dual carriageway will often come onto this roundabout quite fast. But it is a 40. And we're just going to go straight ahead. And we're still in a 40 zone. So I'm just going to get my speeds up towards that 40. And we're going to continue on this road just for a little while. So the left-hand turn there, it's a good example of checking to see what speed. You can see there, we've got 20 signs. So that means either we're in a 30 or higher. Obviously, I know that we're in a 40 zone. We've got repeaters. And this is Deeside Industrial Park, new Aldi there. And this runs parallel to that dual carriageway that we were just on. We're going to continue down this road. I'm at 40 miles an hour because it's nice and clear. This road is usually quite nice. Go under the Millennium Greenway cycle route. We're going to get to the end of this road and it bears round to the left. So you don't need to indicate. There is a left turning here, but don't worry about indicating because you're not going to be turning down there unless your instructor asks you to. And it's a sharp turn to the left, so just slow down just a little bit. You've got your sharp turn signs there. We're going to go down to the end. And we're going to turn right at the end of this road. You can see there's a sign there for a roundabout. And we're going to turn right on this road. Making sure that any oncoming traffic is safe. If you're on your test or a lesson and you see big puddles like this, just try to give them as wide a berth as you can. Especially if the opposite side of the road is clear, then just try your best to go slowly and avoid them as much as possible. We're going to follow this road round to the top and we're going to be at a big roundabout and we're getting back to our 50-mile-an-hour speed limit and we're just going to follow that white van. So stay in the left lane. Basically straight across, but I'm going to indicate quickly just to say I'm coming off this way. Back towards the M56. And again, with this one, we're going to indicate when the grass ends, because we're going over into the second lane. So we're going to start to indicate here. And we're going to go across into the right-hand lane. Traffic lights up ahead, so just make sure you reduce your speed enough to safely approach them. So this right-hand lane is for the M56 and for Manchester. The left-hand lane is going up through the Wirral. So we're just going to continue on at these lights. Just going to give it a couple of minutes. The route that I have says that you may continue on from these lights and there's a left turn, and it's basically like a U-turn that brings you out on the left there, but I'm not sure if that is actually part of the route because that road does look dodgy. That 2 lanes becomes 1 and we're on 50 miles an hour, and this is a slip road, national speed limit now. We're on a slip road. Indicate when the grass ends, and we're going to get across if it's safe to do so. And we're going to get our speeds up because we can. The road is clear. And although it's wet, it's still safe enough. The traffic's moving fast enough. So higher speeds are entirely appropriate. Now, I make a mistake here. I come off at this turning. Both this turning and the next one both take you back to the test centre, that big roundabout that you have to do at the beginning of any route. So I'm going to come off here, but you may be asked to go to the next turn off. And you'll just come out on different sections of that same roundabout. So I'm going to come off here. You may be asked to continue. But either way, it's not a major issue because they both take you back to that big roundabout at the beginning of the route. The next turn off is not actually very far away, you'll see. You'll just stay on that dual carriageway. But because I've come off here, I'm going to get over into the left-hand lane because left-hand is left turn straight on and the right-hand lane is right turn only. So yeah, just bear in mind that you may be asked to come this way, but usually you will be asked to continue on the dual carriageway till the next turn off, which, as I said, is maybe another 2 minutes further on. So we're going to be crossing Parkgate Road, and we're just going to go straight on across these lights. National speed limit once again. And we're heading back down towards the test centre. So the dual carriageway will continue on the opposite side of that barrier. So even if you did come this way, it's not a major issue, I feel. It may just not be the exact route that the instructor or examiner expected. But as long as you do it safely, then that's the important thing. And we're continuing down this way to the roundabout. Now, because we come on from this road, we need to go straight across the roundabout. But if you'd have come down the dual carriageway, you'd have come from the turning on the right there. So if you come from the dual carriageway, then it'll be a left-hand turn. If you came from this way, then it will be straight on. 50-mile zone. And we are basically back at the test centre. So we're just going to indicate into this lane. Get to the lights. Just slowing it down just to make sure the lights don't change on me. Do a right hand turn. And we're going to head back down. And we're going to turn left. I'm actually going to go park in the driving test bays, just so you can see what they look like. So, second turning, turn right. And I'm going to head straight down to the end. And on the right hand side and the left hand side are the bays that you will use for manoeuvres. You can see they are yellow dotted lines, but this is where you will do any parking manoeuvres. And that is this route. We'll do a quick breakdown of the route. I'll show you where we went exactly, and I'll see you on the next one.